All right, Richard Skinner of Local12.com is here. So is the former Red player and coach Dave Collins. Dave, let me ask you, because you went to the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby as a fan with some family members. So give us a general or broad overview of what you thought of the two events and really the week in general.
I like the format they had.
For the Derby you're talking about.
Yeah, I really did. They paired them up. You had to win that first round. And for Todd Frazier to win 3 rounds in walk-off on each round was just beyond anybody's belief.
And it's not like he had 6 or 7 home runs. He had to have 14 in round 1, 15 in the final round. I mean, Richard Skinner, this kid got it done.
I thought he was done when Fielder was done with his at bat. I looked and thought,
the whole
there's
stadium
no chance.
did.
You're great. You know, this will be my story will be done by
Yeah.
8:45 because the local guy didn't do so well, and he came back and won that one. And then, all right, can he do it a second time? He does it a second time, and literally, I went and rode that Jock Peterson had won the home run derby. He got off to a good start. He got hot midway through. Frazier didn't get off to such a good start. Then he took the time out. I thought, he's still done. And all of a sudden, I literally wrote down the times. I mean, he hit 8 home runs in the last minute 29.
Yeah.
And that was a great part about that. I'm with Dave. The format was great. And then they had the local guy on top of it. Was even better.
Format was fantastic because rather than chasing some number which may have been established
You had a
30 or
finite
40
time.
minutes earlier,
Right.
now you're mano a mano.
Right
You
then
got
and
to
there.
beat that
Yes.
guy. You got to beat that guy. It was fantastic. And thoughts on the game the following night? You know, there were a lot of people spilling onto the concourse 5th, 6th inning. I guess the All-Star Game is more event than caring so much about the result.
I think the thing that made the All-Star Game for me anyway was when they announced the franchise impact players
Yep, the
in every
franchise 4,
organization,
yeah.
and when Pete Rose came on the field. And then, of course, you got Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, and Barry Larkin out there as well. But when Pete came out on the field, that place was electric, just like it was the night before for Todd Frazier.
Do you think, as someone who knows Pete very well, Dave Collins, that night obviously means a lot to him, but does it hurt him to be a part of these nights here and there and not to be able to be a part of it all?
Yeah, I think it cuts Pete it's got to cut through his heart. I mean, Pete, he lives the game. He loves the game. And he's a big, big part of the game. And for him to not be able to take part in a lot of these festivities, it's got to eat him alive. But that had to be a special night for him the other night.
It's my feeling that it's now or never for Pete. With a new commissioner, we're 3 commissioners removed from Bart Giamatti. If Pete is going to either be reinstated or eligible for the Hall of Fame, it's going to be now. Do you feel the same way, Skin?
It's going to be now, but it's not going to be now because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, and I wrote this a few weeks ago when that new news came out from ESPN. Nothing changed, but everything changed because we always knew the whole thing about betting as a manager, and that already had him on the banned list. He was still eligible to apply for reinstatement. He can still apply for reinstatement. Now, you know what Major League Baseball has always known, that he bet as a player, and that was the final straw for them. That's why Manfred this week, he didn't have to come out and do anything other than say, not going to meet. I mean, you can just keep dragging that out, and really, there's no reason for him to do that. Pete can certainly apply for reinstatement. Doesn't mean he has to go ahead and accept it.
Very sad set of circumstances.
It is.
All right, let's talk about the Reds on the baseball field
That's
now.
sad, too.
Yeah, well, it has been. Mr. Castellini has apparently given Walt Jocketty, the general manager, the green light to go ahead and make some moves. Apparently, if your name is not Frazier or it's not Hamilton, you are not safe. Skinny, let's start with Johnny Cueto. Did he hurt his trade value with today's performance, the 6 walks, the 4 innings, or is it just a little blip?
I thought it was a blip. For a while there, though, when he was throwing a lot of change-ups, it was change-up, change-up, change-up. I thought, uh-oh, something's not right. He wasn't, obviously he had no command of what he was doing. He couldn't throw strikes, none of that. And I thought, ooh, if he's relying on his changeup. But then he got it up to 94, 95 a couple of times. I thought, all right, that shows me his arm is still sound enough. It would have scared me if all of a sudden that velocity stayed at 90 to 92, and it didn't. That would have scared me off a little bit. I don't think what you saw today, if I'm a GM of another team, it didn't scare me off.
Dave, who's the 1 or 2 or 3 players they could move here in the next 2 weeks, and what would you like to see back in return to solidify the future of this ball club?
Well, I think number 1, they've got to get a big bat in their lineup. And I think they got to find a left-handed bat. I really do, to complement Jay Bruce and Joey Votto. So I think they're going to look for a big bat, and I think they also need to find bullpen guys that can come out of that pen with strong arms, and I think that they'll look for those two things.
Well, the leaky bullpen is what set the tone for this year.
It is, and that's the funny part. You hear all these Jay Bruce trade rumors that kind of came out of the blue right before the All-Star break, and
because he's hot now, that's why.
But it made me wonder. You've got control of him for 2 more years plus. Why would you deal one of your few big bats in this lineup when he's under control?
Yeah.
It's not. You're not paying him a ton in market value wise. That one was the one that kind of blew me away. If they deal him, that's the one that shocks me the most.
Very quickly, another name has surfaced, Mike Leake. He does not cost you a fortune and probably wouldn't cost you a ridiculous fortune.
I think he would. See, I think he would. I think he cost you $12 to $14 million, and is he worth $12 to $14 million?
Did they do that to themselves with Homer Bailey?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That kind of set a market for an okay pitcher. Mike's good. He's just not great. And Good's going to get you right now $12 to $14 mil. They can't afford to pay Good $12 to $14 mil. They cannot do it.
All right, Dave Collins, Richard Skinner, Local12.com. Thanks so much, guys. We
Thanks.
appreciate it
Thank
as we
you.
head towards the second half of the baseball season.